What's up, YouTube? Young Mustard is back with another versus video. Now, in this versus, we are going to do Karl-Anthony Towns and Demarcus Cousins. Who is the best big man in the NBA? Now, I know some people may be saying Anthony Davis is a big man, but I consider big men to be people who play the center position. So Anthony Davis is a power forward, and I just don't consider him a big man. Now, in this video, we are going to grade it like Legend of Winning's Kobe versus LeBron video. The link will be in the description. We are going to go off of 6 categories: defense, scoring, passing, rebounding, intangibles, and accomplishments. So without further ado, let's get off with this video. Number 1, defense. Now, when it comes to defense, Karl-Anthony Towns hasn't been very good throughout his whole NBA career, which is just the past 2 seasons. Karl-Anthony Towns was expected to have a huge defensive leap getting Tom Thibodeau last season, but it only got worse. Karl-Anthony Towns last year had a defensive rating of 110.1, and that was down from the season before, which was his rookie year where he had 108.1. I mean, that is just abysmal. I mean, this team struggled defensively, and it fell on the shoulders of Karl-Anthony Towns. Now, obviously, Andrew Wiggins and Zach LaVine didn't help it, and Ricky Rubio, his steals percentage was the highest in the league during Karl-Anthony's rookie season, and it did go down during Karl-Anthony's sophomore season, but that does not excuse you to have an abysmal defensive rating and just to be a horrible defender in general. And also, his defensive rating even went worse in the 4th quarter as it jumped from 110 to 117.3. I mean, it's clear that Karl-Anthony Towns is a mediocre defender right now, and hopefully things get better moving forward, but for now, I'm going to have to give him a 1. Now, when it comes to Demarcus Cousins, I mean, let's just be honest. It ain't that much of an improvement from Karl-Anthony Towns. Demarcus Cousins last season had a defensive rating of 109, and his defensive rating actually went worse in the losses as it went from 109 to 112.7. So it's pretty obvious that the losses could have been due to the fact that Demarcus Cousins is kind of lazy when it comes to defense. Sometimes he sacks off, and I know that him being in Sacramento all those years kind of did make him have to do a lot of work offensively and carry the load. Sometimes he'd be running the offense, he'd be the point guard, or at least be running the point. Sometimes they'd be running their offense through him, but that does not excuse you for having a horrible defensive rating and being a horrible defender as well. Nothing can excuse someone from just being lazy when it comes to defense. So he may be better than Cat when it comes to defense, but it ain't by much, so I'm going to have to give him a 1.5 out of 5. Number 2, scoring. Now, when it comes to scoring for Demarcus Cousins, he is an amazing scorer. Demarcus Cousins, throughout his whole career, has proven that when you give him the ball, he can do something with it, whether it comes to passing, scoring, getting buckets. This guy can do it all. In his rookie year, he averaged 14 points a game, and the next year he averaged 18, and then just a few years later he's averaging 24 and 27. So it's pretty obvious that he's an amazing scorer. But I cannot overlook the fact that throughout his whole career, he's never had a field goal percentage of over 49.6, and if we round it, that's 50%. For a center, that's not very good. Now, I know some people may say that the fact that, he shoots threes and all this and that, so he's stretching his game, but you have to realize that the season that he shot 49.6%, that was a season where he never even attempted that many threes. He averaged 0.1 3-pointers attempted that season, and he didn't even make any threes. So, I mean, I don't want to hear that excuse. So it's pretty obvious that he's not very efficient from the field, and I mean, I just got to give him an L here, but he's still going to get a high total, as I am going to give him a 4 out of 5. Now, when it comes to Karl-Anthony Towns, on the other hand, Karl-Anthony Towns has been an amazing scorer, and to be honest, I gotta give him just a 5 out of 5. In his rookie year, he averaged 18 points on 54% field goal shooting, and he took 1 3 a game, and he shot 34% from 3. Meanwhile, in his sophomore season, all of his scoring numbers took a jump. He went from 18 points to 25 points. He went from shooting 55% in terms of his effective field goal percentage to 57%. His 2-point percentage went from 55% to 58%. 3-point percentage went from 34% to 37%, and his field goal percentage stayed the same. So he even scored more points at just the amount of efficiency, and he took more threes. He did everything. He took more shots, made just as many shots as he did the year before, took more threes, and made even more threes than he did the year before. So it shows that he has progressed to the point that he has been more efficient in these past 2 seasons than Demarcus Cousins ever has. So I gotta give Karl-Anthony a 5 out of 5. He deserves it. He's one of the best scorers in the NBA and arguably is the best scoring center in the NBA. So I gotta give Karl-Anthony the 5. Number 3, passing. Now when it comes to passing, Demarcus Cousins is a beast. Jesus Christ. This man can run your offense anytime, any day. Just name it. Demarcus is a great passer, arguably the best passing big man that we got in the league. Not saying that he is, but it's arguable. Throughout his whole career, he's averaged 3 assists a game. And when you look at the past 3 seasons, he's averaged at least 4. Now, I'm not going to give him the whole 5 out of 5, and that's due to the fact that his turnovers have been up too, because when you look at the past 3 seasons, though he's averaged 4 assists, he's also averaged 4 turnovers. So I gotta give him a 4 out of 5. But he's still arguably the best passing big man in the NBA, so I gotta give him his props where it's due. Now when it comes to Karl-Anthony Towns, Karl-Anthony Towns is a very, very underrated passer. This man throughout his whole career has averaged at least 2 assists in the past 2 seasons, and last year he averaged about 3. And honestly, his turnovers have been up as well, as in his rookie year he averaged 2 assists and he averaged 2 turnovers. This year he averaged 3 assists and averaged 2.5 turnovers. But we gotta give him his props. I'm not gonna give him the whole 5 out of 5. I'm not gonna even give him the 4 out of 5. I'm gonna give him a 3 out of 5 because nonetheless he's still a very solid passer, but he ain't as good as Boogie. So he's getting the 3 out of 5. Number 4, rebounding. Now, when it comes to rebounding, Boogie, I mean, come on. Do I have to explain how great of a rebounder he is? Demarcus Cousins throughout his whole career has never averaged less than 9 rebounds a game, and that was his rookie year. Besides that, everything's been above 10 rebounds a game. So clearly Demarcus Cousins is among the elite rebounders in the NBA. As, I mean, when you're averaging over 10 rebounds a game in your past near 5 seasons, come on now, you're obviously an elite rebounder. So I'm going to give Demarcus Cousins a 4 out of 5. But when it comes to Karl-Anthony Towns is a beast on the boards, man. We gotta give him his credit. Last year, in his rookie year, he averaged almost 11 rebounds a game. That is crazy and that is ridiculous. Demarcus Cousins did that in his second year, yeah, but Karl-Anthony, he did that in his rookie year. And then in his sophomore year, he took another step as he went from about 11 rebounds a game to 12 rebounds a game. So yeah, it just went up by 1, but at the end of the day, that's more than Demarcus has ever had. And I know Demarcus did have one season where he did average 12.7 rebounds a game, but you also have to realize in that season, he only played 59 games. That's a whole 23 game drop off in comparison to Karl-Anthony Towns' sophomore year where he played 82 games. So I'm gonna give the edge to Karl-Anthony Towns. In my personal opinion, Karl-Anthony Towns is a better rebounder than Demarcus Cousins. So I'm giving Cat a 5 out of 5. Number 5, intangibles. Now, what are intangibles? Now, for those who don't know, intangibles, the basketball definition at least, is something that you just cannot be taught. And when it comes to things that cannot be taught, they both got this. They both got intangibles. Demarcus Cousins and Karl-Anthony Towns, they're both hard workers. They're both people who you can respect for their work ethic. They're both people who give 100% every single time they go on the court. They're ruthless. They hustle. They got it all. But there's something about Demarcus that, yeah, you can't teach it, but it's not something that's very good. And it's his attitude. At the end of the day, his attitude puts his team at a huge liability for a lot of the times that he plays. Demarcus Cousins led the league in technical fouls with 18, as the person in second place was Russell Westbrook with 15, and also was top 5 in ejections last season. And throughout NBA history, we've had plenty players be jerks. We've had plenty players, get ejected and, had hot tempers. I mean, Rasheed Wallace, Dennis Rodman, but they knew how to keep it in check when it came to the big moments, obviously like the 04 finals when it came to Rasheed, and obviously when it came to Dennis Rodman when he played with Michael Jordan and the Bad Boy Pistons. He kept it in check for the right moments. Now don't get me wrong, obviously they have their moments, but what's the thing that separates them and Demarcus Cousins? Demarcus Cousins is so talented. He is one of the most talented players that the league's ever seen. The guy is amazing. He's a Hall of Fame talent, arguably a top 10 talented player in the league today. So he needs to find a way to keep himself in check, but until then, his intangibles put his team at a liability. So I gotta give Demarcus a 4 and I gotta give Cat a 5. I'm sorry, but Demarcus don't win this round.
Some real f***ing issue. Don't ever mention my brother again. You don't know my f***ing brother.
Okay, that's good.
But still got a lot of growing to do.
Thanks, folks. Thank you.
Clown. Answering your damn questions anyway. You like that style?
Number 6, accomplishments. Now, when it comes to accomplishments, Demarcus Cousins is pretty accomplished, not just his highlights and awards, but the things that he's done on the court. He's a 3-time All-Star, 2-time All-NBA player, and a rookie first team. And when it comes to the things that he's done on the court, he's put up some of the most phenomenal numbers that puts him in an elite class. He became the 4th player in NBA history to collect 20 points, 20 rebounds, 10 assists, and 5 blocks, joining Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, Chris Webber, and Tim Duncan. And also, he became the only player in NBA history to have 4 consecutive 20-point, 20 rebounds, and 10 assist games, the other 2 people being Elgin Baylor and Wilt Chamberlain. So it's safe to say that Demarcus Cousins is heavily accomplished, and especially when you consider the fact that he's been on such a horrid organization throughout his whole career, such as the Sacramento Kings, who barely knew how to put anything around him, or when they fired the coach that he desperately wanted. So I'm going to give Demarcus Cousins a 4 out of 5. Now when it comes to Karl-Anthony Towns, Karl-Anthony Towns is not on Demarcus Cousins' level, but that's obviously due to the fact that he just entered the league a whole 2 years ago. Now, his career highlights and awards is that he was the Rookie of the Year, All-Rookie First Team, and he was the Skills Champion. And when it comes to his accomplishments on the court, I mean, it's nothing bad, it's pretty good. He became the 2nd youngest player in NBA history to record 100 career double-doubles. He also became Minnesota's franchise leader for the most points scored in a single season, which surpassed Kevin Love and Kevin Garnett, and he did that in his sophomore year. Karl-Anthony Towns also made NBA history in 2017 by becoming the first player in NBA history to have at least 2,000 points, which he had 2,061 points, 1,000 rebounds, he had 1,007 rebounds, and 100 three-pointers in a single season. He had 101 three-pointers. So it's pretty safe to say that Demarcus Cousins and Karl-Anthony Towns are pretty heavily accomplished, especially when you consider where they are in their careers and what they've been able to do up to this point in their careers. But like I said before, Demarcus Cousins to me is more heavily accomplished than Karl-Anthony Towns, and that primarily is just due to the fact that Karl-Anthony Towns has only played 2 seasons in comparison to Demarcus Cousins, who has played about 6 to 7 years in the NBA. So I'm going to give the edge to Demarcus. Like I said, Demarcus got a 4, but I'm going to give Cat a 3. Alright, so that is all 6 categories, and for the totals of both players, Karl-Anthony Towns, 22 out of 30 possible points. Meanwhile, Boogie, 21.5 out of 30 possible points. Now, I'm not here trying to disrespect Demarcus Cousins. Everybody calm down. Demarcus, he was the best big man in the NBA until now. Karl-Anthony Towns' sophomore year showed us that he's not a bust, he's not a one-hit wonder, that he's here to stay, and that he is already the best big man in basketball. Yes, the best big man in basketball is Karl-Anthony Towns. It is not Demarcus Cousins. So I gotta give the props to Cat Cat is already in his second year, he's heading into his third season, and he has dominated in both years. But like I said, Demarcus is still the second best. There's no problem with him being second best. I'm not saying that Demarcus can't take another step to even improve even better with Anthony Davis in the front court sharing it with them. I'm just saying that right now, Karl-Anthony Towns is better than Demarcus Cousins. He's the best big man in basketball. Alright, so if you like this video, hit that thumbs up. Comment down below your opinions. Also, comment some suggestions for some videos that you want me to do. If you want me to do another versus, comment that down below, because you know, I'm about to leave on the 18th for college and I want to drop as many videos as I possibly can leading up to it. Yesterday I dropped a video, today I dropped a video, and I'm expecting to drop another one tomorrow. So hey, y'all drop your suggestions. I will try to get to as many as I possibly can. So this is your boy Young Mustard signing out. Follow me on Twitter, follow me on Instagram, add me on Snapchat. Links will be down below. And we out. Peace.
I always tell the truth, boy, I ain't gotta lie. If you ain't fucking with us, don't come to our side. From the club around 3:30. I've been up in it going James Worthy. I've been up going away up. Thinking about it all day, fuck. How many more can fit in a ride? Hit me, I pull up on any side. All of my